The cry cut the corridor like glass, and Maya Collins froze with a coffee lid trembling in her hand. Nurse Diane drifted close and whispered, "Maya, you need to come with me." The elevator chimed like a clock striking doom, and the night pressed in. The rain slid down the hospital windows like thin veins of mercury. Maya said, "I think you have the wrong person." Diane said, "I wish I did." The bass thump of distant monitors turned into a heartbeat she could not slow. Maya followed the hush of the nurse past closed doors, feeling every stare. She said, "Tell me what this is." Diane said, "There's a baby, and your name is on the file." The hallway smelled of bleach and thunder. A second cry rose, smaller, tender, merciless. The nursery lights shone like judgment. Maya said, "This is a mistake. I never signed anything." Diane said, "There was a court order this afternoon." The words hit like a bruise. Maya's phone buzzed with Ethan's name, and she let it ring. She said, "Why would a court write my name?" Diane said, "DNA." Maya reached the glass, and the sound left her chest. She said, "No one told me." The nurse said, "They are telling you now." Morning came like a verdict, and the courthouse smelled of wet wool and cold coffee. Maya sat under the fan that never turned, counting cracks in the paint to stay upright. Ethan arrived late, tie crooked, charm weaponized and useless. He said, "You should have picked up." She said, "You should have told me." A clerk shuffled papers like thunder made of thin trees. Judge Harper entered with calm that felt like a blade. Harper said, "We will be brief." The DNA report lay in a tidy stack that hummed with ruin. Ethan said, "There must be an error." Harper said, "There is not." Alex Rivera slid into the bench behind Maya and murmured, "Breathe." She breathed like a novice at the sea. The report numbers looked like a lock she could not pick. Ethan watched the ceiling as if it might rescue him. Harper said, "Custody is provisional, effective immediately." The room tilted, and the clock ticked in cruel applause. Maya said, "Where do I sign?" Ethan said nothing. On the courthouse steps the rain had thinned to a silver mist, and Maya felt the city listening. A reporter drifted close, then thought better of it. Alex said, "You are not alone." She said, "I have never felt more alone." Cars hissed past like quiet snakes. Ethan stood under the awning pretending to read his phone. She said, "Did you know?" He said, "I knew there was a chance." The words were a match struck in wet air. Alex said, "Do not speak to him here." Maya said, "He spoke to a judge without me." The mist softened the stone lions into grieving shapes. A bus brake screamed, then released. Ethan said, "We can manage this." She said, "You managed me into a file folder." Alex looked toward the street and said, "We should move." Maya watched a mother lift a child into a cab with practiced grace. She said, "I do not know how to hold her." Alex said, "You will learn in the first minute, and you will hate every minute until you love it." The nursery was quieter than the storm in her chest when she returned with the provisional papers. Diane said, "Are you ready?" Maya said, "No, but I am here." The bassinet glowed under the lamp like a small sunrise. A lullaby looped in a key that felt like prayer and ache. Ethan hovered at the doorway as if the threshold could absolve him. He said, "Let me speak." Maya said, "You have already said everything." Diane tucked a blanket corner with a gesture that made time kind. Maya said, "If I lift her, I cannot put her down." Diane said, "Then do not put her down." The clock hummed in a long, low note. The baby's breath snagged on a tiny hiccup. Maya said, "What if she does not want me?" Diane said, "She wants warmth. And you have that." Ethan said, "We can set a plan." Maya said, "You never planned me." Diane nodded toward the bassinet, and the floor found her feet. Her arms learned the weight before her mind agreed, and the room changed temperature. Maya said, "Hi, I am not good at this." The baby sighed like a secret forgiving her. Outside, thunder retreated toward another unlucky town. Ethan shifted, and the floorboards scolded him. He said, "I can try." She said, "You had time to try." Diane adjusted the swaddle with a magician's mercy. Maya looked down and saw a mouth shaped like a question she could not refuse. Alex texted one word, and it was courage. Maya said, "I was free yesterday." The clock answered with a second that cut clean. She said, "I do not know who I am now." Diane said, "Say her name." Maya said, "Lily." The ceiling lights hummed a tired lullaby. She kissed the warm crown that smelled like new paper and rain. She said, "If I am anything, I am the one who stays." Maya's apartment felt smaller than she remembered, walls pressing in with baby Lily's soft whimpers echoing like thunder in a tin can. She paced between couch and crib, whispering prayers she didn't believe in. She said, "I don't even know how to hold you without trembling." The air smelled of wet diapers and burnt toast from the morning she never finished. Alex called, voice steady, "You don't have to get it perfect, only honest." She said, "Honest means admitting I don't want this." Her confession hung heavier than the shadows creeping across peeling wallpaper. Lily's fingers curled around hers, fragile strength pulling her closer. Maya whispered, "I was supposed to be free, not trapped." The city outside roared with taxis, mocking her isolation. She lowered into the armchair, exhaustion crawling into her spine. She said, "But if I leave her, she will never forgive me. If I stay, I may never forgive myself." The mirror over the sink told stories she didn't want to hear. Maya stared at hollow eyes framed in smudged eyeliner, lips chapped from silence. She said, "Who are you now?" Lily's soft coo answered from the crib in the other room. The mirror fogged with steam, and she wiped it with the edge of her sleeve, revealing someone she barely knew. Ethan's voicemail buzzed again. "We need to talk." She deleted it before the last word finished. She said, "You had your chance." The kettle screamed and she let it, drowning the sound of her pulse. Alex had left a note tucked under her door. "Stop carrying this alone," she whispered, but who else would? The bathroom light flickered once, then steadied. For a moment, she thought about running. Then Lily cried, and the sound tethered her to the floor. At dawn, she sat on the balcony, blanket wrapped around both her and Lily, city still yawning awake. The skyline shimmered with glass teeth, and Maya whispered, "The world keeps moving without asking permission." Lily stirred against her chest, heartbeat syncopating with hers. She said, "You did not ask for me either." A pigeon landed on the railing, shaking water off its wings, like disapproval. She thought of her mother's silence years ago, the nights she begged for comfort and got walls. Alex texted again, "I can stop by today." She didn't answer. She pressed her cheek against Lily's head, the scent of new skin making her ache. She whispered, "I don't know how to be needed." A cab horn cut the quiet, and she flinched as if the city had called her bluff. The sun crawled higher, and her doubts refused to burn away. The grocery store aisles loomed taller than cathedrals, every shelf a sermon about what mothers should know. Maya pushed the cart with one hand and balanced Lily's carrier with the other. She said, "I don't even know what formula is right." A stranger, older woman, glanced and muttered, "She looks too young for that baby." The words pierced like pins, leaving her breath shallow. She clenched the handle tighter, whispering, "I'm not too young, I'm just unprepared." The fluorescent lights buzzed louder than her thoughts. Ethan's face flashed on her phone screen again, and she pressed decline. She said, "Not today, not again." A jar slipped from the shelf and shattered at her feet, startling Lily awake. She whispered, I'm sorry," rocking the carrier as if the world could be soothed back together. The night closed in heavy, and Maya lay on the couch with Lily asleep on her chest. The television flickered silently, shadows dancing on the wall like restless ghosts. She whispered, "I used to dream about leaving this city. Now I can't even leave this couch." The baby shifted, tiny fingers curling into the fabric of her shirt, anchoring her. She said, "You don't know the weight you carry already." Her phone buzzed once more, but she ignored it, staring instead at the ceiling cracks mapping a story she couldn't read. Alex's earlier words replayed, "You'll hate it until you love it." She said, "Maybe I already love you, and that terrifies me." Tears slid quietly into her hairline. She whispered, "You didn't ruin me. You revealed me." The silence folded over them, thick and strangely merciful. Morning scraped at the blinds while Maya reheated coffee that tasted like worry. The buzzer snarled, and her mother's voice filled the hall with old storms. Elaine said, "You should have called me before this became public." Maya said, "I barely called myself." The kitchen clock clicked like a metronome for panic. Elaine said, "You are not ready for this weight." Maya said, "Neither were you when I needed you." Silence throbbed between the cabinets. The kettle rattled and steadied. A text from Ethan flashed, and she let it vanish like a moth in bright light. Elaine said, "He will protect himself first." Maya said, "I know that lesson by heart." Lily stirred, and the apartment changed shape around the sound. Maya said, "I am holding on with hands that shake." Elaine said, "Hands can learn." The words landed like reluctant mercy. The elevator stalled at the lobby and Judgment waited by the mailboxes in a floral coat. Mrs. Klein said, "Some people collect trouble like coupons." Maya said, "Some people hand it out like flyers." The stroller wheels squeaked like a small confession. Lily slept, despite the neon hum, and the draft that smelled of bleach. Mrs. Klein said, "A baby needs stability." Maya said, "So does a neighbor's mouth." The receptionist looked down as if silence were a desk policy. Maya checked the list for a package that was only hope. Her phone rang with an unknown number. Tara said, "I am your caseworker, and I need a home visit today." Maya said, "Today is already on fire." Tara said, "Then let me see the flames." The call ended, and the lobby tiles felt like thin ice. Maya pushed the stroller forward and chose not to look back. They met at a corner cafe where the sugar packets looked like exit signs. Ethan said, "My firm is nervous, and donors are watching." Maya said, "You mean your donors, not our child." Steam curled from mugs like thoughts they feared to speak. Ethan said, "We should discuss adoption before this hardens." Maya said, "You want to launder your name with my grief." Huckle laughed at the window, and the sound felt borrowed. He said, "I can provide support if we keep this discreet." She said, "Support has a spine, and yours is on vacation." His jaw moved like a locked door. He said, "I never agreed to this." She said, "Neither did I, and here I am." The waiter hovered in the doorway of their wall. Ethan said, "I will consult counsel." Maya said, "Bring an umbrella, the weather is getting honest." Back home, the inbox stacked bricks around her. I wrote, "Your leave is unpaid and temporary." She read it twice, as if meaning might blink. Rent numbers marched like soldiers. Alex called and said, "I can file for emergency assistance." Maya said, "File for a miracle while you are at it." Thunder muttered somewhere she could not fix. She opened a forum, and the comments bled. Someone wrote, "Women chase headlines with babies." She closed the screen before her hands, learned to shake harder. Lily fussed, and she held the sound like glass. She said, "I am not a headline. I am a hallway with lights that flicker." Alex said, "You are also a door that shuts on what harms you." She said, "Then help me find the hinge." The room waited with her, while the kettle decided not to boil. Evening dragged its feet, and the building lights blinked out in a storm flicker. The hallway dimmed to a red emergency sigh. Lily cried and the sound climbed floors like a flare. Maya said, "I hear you. I hear you. I am here." She felt for the diaper bag and found only apologies. The corner store downstairs would close at 9, and the clock sprinted. She said, "We can do this before the sky forgets us." The stairwell smelled of metal and old rain. A door opened above, and Louise said, "Power will be back soon." She said, "Soon is a word for people with diapers." Her laugh cracked and did not mend. Another step and her knee wobbled. She said, "I will not drop you." The emergency light stuttered once like a doubtful heart. She kept moving because staying still felt like drowning. The file arrived in a brown envelope with no return address, edges curled like secrets chewing themselves. Maya tore it open on the kitchen counter, heart hammering. Inside, the report stared back in sterile black ink. She whispered, "This is not possible." The page read that Lily's DNA matched not only Ethan, but also someone else in the family. She said, "This is a lie." The paper trembled in her hands, the kettle whistling as if mocking her. She dialed Alex with shaking fingers. He said, "What did you find?" She said, "It says my sister could be her mother." Silence stretched wide. Then Alex said, "Then someone has been lying for years." Maya's knees buckled, and she caught the counter edge like a lifeline. She said, "I thought betrayal had an end." "It doesn't, it just changes shape." Lily's cry pierced the silence, dragging her back into the room's terrible truth. Maya stormed into Elaine's house, where the walls smelled of lavender and denial. She slammed the report on the dining table. Elaine said, "You should not have seen that." Maya said, "You should not have buried me in lies." The chandelier swayed slightly with the force of her voice. Elaine said, "It was for your own good." Maya said, "Good is not built on silence." Lily's cry echoed from the carrier, sharp as broken glass. Elaine's face crumpled for the first time. She said, "Your sister was too young, too ashamed." Maya said, "So you handed me her shame like a family heirloom." The clock ticked in accusation. Elaine whispered, "I wanted to protect her." Maya said, "And you destroyed me instead." The room split with grief no renovation could repair. Tara sat at the edge of the couch with her notebook, pen poised like a scalpel. She said, "We need the truth before custody decisions are final." Maya said, "The truth is poison in this family." Tara said, "The child deserves clarity." Maya said, "The child deserves peace." Alex leaned in the doorway, jaw locked, watching the storm unravel. Elaine stood near the window, arms crossed, refusing to meet anyone's eyes. Tara said, "If the report is accurate, everything changes." Maya said, "Everything already changed when you put her in my arms." The baby stirred, eyes fluttering, oblivious to the battlefield her life had become. Alex said, "Secrets rot faster than courage." Maya whispered, "Then let them rot in the open." Tara scribbled, pen scratching louder than the clock. Maya confronted Ethan outside his office, glass towers reflecting a sky ready to break. "Ah." She shoved the papers into his chest. She said, "You knew this was possible, didn't you?" Ethan said, "I knew there were questions." Maya said, "Questions you buried with your ambition." The plaza fountain hissed like gossip. Ethan said, "This could ruin everything." She said, "It already ruined me." His tie flapped in the wind as if choking him. Ethan said, "Your sister begged me to stay silent." Maya's knees shook, the pavement tilting under her rage. She said, "She carried the child, and you carried the secret." Pedestrians slowed but didn't stop, the city swallowing their war whole. Ethan whispered, "I was trying to protect reputations." Maya said, "Reputation is a costume. Truth is skin." Night fell heavy, and Maya sat in Lily's nursery where pastel walls mocked her with innocence. She whispered, "You are not mine the way I thought." Her tears dripped onto the rocking chair's wood arm. Lily's tiny hand rested against her chest, grounding her in spite of the chaos. She said, "But I will not abandon you no matter what blood says." Shadows stretched long across stuffed animals, lined like witnesses. She remembered her sister's laugh, fragile and reckless, and wondered how many lies it carried. Maya said, "You deserved better from all of us." The silence ached with truths she could not rewrite. The rocking chair creaked like bones remembering. She said, "If the world tries to take you, They will have to take me too. Rain marched against the courthouse windows like a crowd without mercy. Maya sat with Alex while Tara arranged folders that looked like blades. Judge Harper entered, and the room straightened its spine. Harper said, "We will hear testimony." Ethan stared at the flag as if it might forgive him. Maya said, "I will tell the truth even if it burns me." Elaine gripped her purse like a secret vault. Alex said, "We seek stability and safety for the child." Tara said, "Facts first, feelings after." The clerk swore them in, and the air felt thin. Maya said, "I did not choose this, but I have chosen her every hour since." Ethan said, "My counsel advises discretion." Harper said, "Discretion is not a defense." The storm outside flashed white, and the lights blinked. Maya held her breath and felt the room hold it with her. The door opened, and Grace stepped in with eyes that carried old midnights. Grace said, "I am ready to speak." Maya's chest folded and then opened again. Harper said, "State your name for the record." Grace said, "Grace Collins." The oath tasted like dust in the room. Grace said, "I was pregnant and afraid, and I asked for silence." Ethan looked at the table as if words might be hiding there. Maya said, "You let me drown for you." Grace said, "I thought I was drowning too." Elaine whispered, "I failed both of you." Harper said, "Speak clearly. This is not a confessional." Grace said, "I asked Ethan to keep my name out." The truth clicked into place with a sound like a lock turning. Ethan took the stand, and the room leaned in like a single animal. Alex said, "Did you conceal material facts from the court?" Ethan said, "I withheld names to prevent harm." Alex said, "Whose harm?" Ethan said, "Mine and hers." Tara said, "And the child?" Ethan's silence answered with weight. Maya said, "You chose image over care." Harper said, "Answer directly." Ethan said, "Yes, I conceal." The word cracked like ice across a lake. Alex said, "Did you pressure Grace to remain silent?" Ethan said, "I advised her to wait." Harper's pen paused midair. Maya felt the floor stop tilting and start to settle. She said, "We stop waiting now." Recess scattered them into the marble hallway where echoes wore hard shoes. Elaine said, "I tried to protect the family name." Maya said, "You erased me to polish it." Grace reached for Maya and stopped just short. Grace said, "I wanted time to grow a spine." Maya said, "Borrow mine until yours arrives." Ethan approached with words built from apology and strategy. Ethan said, "Let me help craft a joint statement." Maya said, "Craft diapers and midnight bottles if you need craft." Alex stood between currents and said, "We return in 5. Tara said, "Make a choice that does not harm the child." Maya looked at Lily and found the answer staring back with quiet need. They reconvened, and the storm swallowed its thunder to listen. Harper said, "I will issue a ruling on provisional custody now." Ethan held his breath like a child near deep water. Grace's hands laced together until the knuckles blanched. Maya said, "I am prepared to provide care without condition." Harper said, "Stability favors the current caregiver." The words moved like a bridge lowering. Tara said, "A safety plan will be filed tonight." Alex said, "We accept and will comply." Elaine closed her eyes as if rewinding years. Grace whispered, "I will not hide anymore." Ethan said, "I will meet obligations and step back." Harper said, "This is not triumph. This is duty." Maya nodded and felt the ground hold. She said, "I stay." The apartment was quiet except for Lily's slow breaths, and Maya sat at the table surrounded by unopened envelopes. She said, "I thought the hardest part was court, but this is harder." Alex said, "The after is always heavier." She thumbed through overdue bills like thorns pressed into skin. Elaine knocked once and entered with cautious eyes. Elaine said, "I brought groceries." Maya said, "You brought silence for years." Elaine placed the bags on the counter whispering, "I am trying." Maya said, "Try louder." Lily stirred, small sounds like reminders of mercy. Alex leaned forward and said, "You are not alone anymore." Maya said, "Being not alone feels as heavy as alone." Elaine's hand hovered over Lily's carrier but never touched. Maya said, "If you reach, mean it this time." Grace waited outside the building with her arms wrapped around herself, streetlight halo softening her face. When Maya stepped out, Grace said, "I'm sorry for hiding behind you." Maya said, "Sorry does not raise a child." Grace's voice cracked as she said, "I was afraid of being less than a mother." Maya said, "You let me be the ghost instead." A car passed with music loud enough to fracture the silence. Grace wiped her eyes and whispered, "I want to be part of her life." Maya said, "Want is not the same as stay." Grace reached for her sister's hand, and Maya let it linger for 1 second before pulling away. She said, "If you come back for real." The night air pressed cool against their heated words. At the park the next morning, Maya pushed Lily's stroller while other mothers clustered near swings. Their laughter felt like a wall. One woman whispered, "She's the one from the case." Maya straightened her back, though her knees shook. She said, "Let them choke on their whispers." Lily gurgled softly, unaware of the stares. Alex joined with coffee in hand, saying, "Ignore the noise, focus on her." Maya said, "Noise is easier to hear than love sometimes." A ball rolled near the stroller and a child ran to grab it, smiling up at Maya without judgment. For a moment, the air felt forgiving. She whispered, "Maybe this is how it starts, in small mercies." Alex said, "Mercy is louder than shame when you let it be." She let herself breathe in a rhythm that felt almost like peace. Ethan appeared at the playground gate, his suit too sharp for the grass beneath him. He said, "I want to help." Maya said, "You want to manage appearances." He sighed. "I don't want Lily to hate me." Maya said, "She will hate lies more than absence." He stepped closer, voice low, "Let me at least provide." Maya said, "Money without presence is another kind of abandonment." Ethan's jaw tightened as he looked at the stroller. He said, "What do you want from me?" She said, "Truth or nothing." He glanced away at the children playing, their laughter sharper than glass. She said, "This is not about your reputation anymore." Ethan whispered, "I don't know how to be better." She said, "Then learn or leave." That night, Maya sat on the floor of Lily's room, toys scattered like bright confessions. She whispered, "I don't know if I'm enough." Lily stirred in the crib, tiny hand stretching into space. Alex sat on the floor across from her, saying, "Enough is not perfect, it's present." Maya said, "I'm afraid every moment I'll fail." Alex said, "Failure is leaving, and you haven't left." The lamp hummed and shadows softened. Elaine peeked in, leaving a folded blanket on the chair, then slipping out quietly. Grace texted a single word, "Tomorrow." Maya touched the crib rail and said, "Maybe tomorrow I'll believe this is where I'm meant to be." Alex said, "It already is." She laid her hand over Lily's and felt the tremor of belonging. Morning softened the edges of everything, and the apartment exhaled. Maya brewed coffee that tasted like courage instead of dread. She said, "We begin again." Lily sighed, a tiny tide pulling her closer to shore. Elaine texted, "I am here if you want breakfast." Maya wrote back, "Come, but bring truth." Alex called and said, "Paperwork is cleared for now." She said, "For now is enough to build today." Grace left a voicemail that trembled with hope. She said, "I am trying to be the kind of sister who stays." Maya looked at Lily and whispered, "You are not a storm, you are a compass." The day waited, quiet and open. At the community office, the air smelled like toner and second chances. Tara said, "This safety plan centers Lily's needs." Maya said, "That is the only map I trust." Alex reviewed forms with a patience that felt like shelter. Elaine stood behind Maya, hands steady on the stroller handle. Grace said, "I will attend visits and do counseling." Maya said, Then show up when it rains. Tara signed and said, "We are done for today." Alex said, "You did the hard part." Maya touched the last page and felt the paper warm under her palm. She said, "Hard is not over, but it has a direction." By the river, wind tugged at words they could not keep. Ethan said, "I have arranged support and I will step back." Maya said, "Step back from the lie, not from growth." He stared at the water as if it could edit the past. Ethan said, "I will not contest you." She said, "Then learn to answer when she asks who you are." He nodded, brittle and sincere. Maya said, "If you return with honesty and sleeves rolled." He said, "I will try, even if trying unmakes me." She said, "Unmaking is how people start over." The current carried their silence away. Night pressed close, and fever shimmered on Lily's skin for one scared hour. Maya rocked and counted breaths like beads. She said, "Stay with me, little light." Alex checked the thermometer and said, "It is easing." Elaine arrived with broth and a blanket that smelled like home. Grace hovered at the door and whispered, "Do you need water?" Maya said, "I need you to keep asking." The fever broke with a damp sigh, and the room let go of its fear. Maya kissed Lily's brow and said, "I will hold the heat and the hush." The clock ticked toward mercy. Dawn returned with the thin gold that forgives. The city yawned, and the radiator clanked a friendly rhythm. Maya opened the window an inch and said, "Listen, this is our ordinary." Lily blinked like a small constellation learning to shine. Elaine brewed coffee without asking. Grace set out 2 bowls, and did not break. Alex laughed softly and said, "You are doing it." Maya held Lily, and felt the answer settle where fear used to live. She said, "They can argue blood forever." She breathed and finished, "She will know me by the warmth that never leaves."